Have you ever heard of a forbidden prayer? A prayer said to be so powerful that it was once hidden from the world because people feared that if everyone knew it, it could shake the very destiny of humankind. They called it the Forbidden Lord's Prayer, and today you are about to hear the entire prayer. But before you do, I want you to understand why you are here and why this is no coincidence. If you are watching this video, perhaps there is something your heart is yearning for. Maybe you are going through difficult times, financial struggles, exhaustion from debt, the pressure of living in a land where everyone seems prosperous. You work hard every day, yet nothing seems to change. Bills, rent, credit cards, insurance, living expenses. They keep piling up. You try your best, yet somehow you feel trapped in the endless loop of lack. If you are in that place, know this. You are not alone. I once stood exactly where you stand. I know that feeling of helplessness, fear, even doubt in yourself. I know what it's like to smile at others while your heart is breaking inside. I know what it's like to beg God for a sign, for just a glimmer of light, to believe that everything will be okay. And then one day, when I was at the lowest point of my life, I heard about this prayer. A friend living in Houston sent it to me, saying that it had been hidden away because it contained the power of pure faith. He said, if you read it every day with true belief, miracles will begin to happen. I didn't believe it right away, but I tried because I had nothing left to lose. That night, I turned off the lights, closed my eyes, and read each line slowly. As I spoke the first words, a strange feeling spread through me, light, warm, peaceful. I didn't know what it was. But the next morning, I received an email. A company I had applied to long ago invited me to an interview. A week later, a tax refund I had forgotten about appeared in my bank account. From that moment, things began to change. Not all at once, but little by little, new doors opened. When you begin to believe, the energy of the universe starts to move. That is what this prayer brings, not magic, not superstition, but the true power of faith. When your mind, your words, and your belief become one, you will see what once seemed impossible. I don't know where you are hearing this, maybe in a small apartment in California, in your car on the way to work in Texas, or in a quiet room in Florida. Wherever you are, these words can reach you, because faith has no borders. Faith needs no distance. Faith only needs an open heart. You may think, I've prayed so many times and nothing has happened. I understand. I once said the same thing. But maybe the problem isn't the prayer, it's the way we believe. We pray in fear instead of trust. We say, God, please help me. But in our hearts we whisper, maybe it won't happen. That tiny doubt is what blocks the miracle God has already prepared for us. The prayer you are about to hear, the Forbidden Lord's Prayer, is unlike any other. It's not just words. It's sacred energy passed through time, connecting you to the source of abundance and peace. When you speak it, you are not just asking, you are activating belief. You are telling the universe that you are ready to receive. Ask yourself, how long has it been since you truly believed that life could change? How long since you dared to dream? Just because you were afraid of disappointment, maybe today is the day that ends. Because sometimes miracles don't come from outside. They begin the moment you believe that God is still working for you, even when you can't see it. Before you hear the prayer, take a deep breath. Feel the air. Fill your chest slowly, peacefully. Let every worry fade away for a few seconds. And whisper to yourself, I believe that something good is coming. That small sentence, if you truly mean it, can open doors you never imagined. You know, life in America can be exhausting. Every day brings pressure, work, responsibility. It's easy to forget that through it all, God is still here. He has never abandoned you. He's just waiting for you to pause, listen, and open your heart to receive. When you say this prayer, don't just speak it with your mouth, speak it with your heart. Feel every word come alive within you. Imagine each sentence as a beam of light, shining into every part of your life, your work, your finances, your family, your soul, and transforming them. Don't think about debt or hardship. Think about the outcome: freedom, peace, and happiness. Because God doesn't only hear what you ask, He hears what your heart longs for. You might be wondering, is this real? Can things really change? I can't answer that for you. But I can tell you I've seen people transform their lives through faith alone. And if it can happen for them, it can happen for you. Right now, you have a choice. You can watch this video and scroll past, or you can stop, listen, and let faith guide you. Just a few minutes, just one small chance, and your life could change direction. Before we say the prayer together, I have one invitation for you. If what I've said touches your heart, if you want to continue this journey of faith, of peace, and true prosperity, subscribe to the Daily Jesus Message channel. There, every day we pray together, share messages from Scripture, and rediscover the faith we once lost. There is no coincidence here. Perhaps God is using this video to call your name. When you click that subscribe button, you're not just following a channel, you're stepping into a community of faith, where people pray for one another and walk together toward the light. And who knows, maybe starting today, your life will begin to change. So believe, open your heart, and let the forbidden Lord's Prayer lead you to a new beginning where peace, abundance, and miracles await you. Part 2. The Hidden Power. There are ordinary prayers, and there are prayers with the power to change destiny. People say that when you speak the right words with the right heart and true faith, the energy of the universe will begin to move with you. And that is exactly what the forbidden Lord's Prayer can do. This is not just sentences. It is an ancient message found in old manuscripts, a prayer believed to have been hidden from the world, because people feared humanity was not ready to receive its power. But today, you are here. You are hearing these words, and that means you are ready. Think about it. Have you ever felt as if an invisible force was holding you back? No matter how hard you try, nothing progresses. You submit applications everywhere, but no one calls back. You work hard, but money keeps slipping away. You feel trapped in a spiral with no way out. Perhaps that is not just coincidence. Perhaps you are being blocked by negative energies, fear, doubt, lack of faith, things that keep blessings from drawing near. When you read the forbidden Lord's Prayer, you are not just saying a prayer. You are breaking those barriers. Every sentence, every word is an arrow piercing the darkness of limitation and opening space for light to enter. But before you hear the prayer, I want you to prepare for what is about to happen. Because if you listen without believing, the words will be only sound. But if you listen with your heart, they will become energy. And that energy will find its way to the places where you need it most. Close your eyes for a few seconds. Take a deep breath. Imagine before you a great golden door. Closed. That door symbolizes every opportunity you thought was lost. Every dream you once gave up. Every good thing you believed was not for you. Now, as you hear these words, that door begins to open. Light shines in. You see that it was never locked. All it needs is your touch, and it will swing wide. That is what the forbidden Lord's Prayer brings, not money falling from the sky, but opportunity, direction, a change in your mind that helps you begin to see a way out where, before there were only walls. Some people ask me, can a single prayer really change a life? And I answer, it's not the prayer that changes your life, but the faith you place in it. When you believe, you act differently, you speak differently, you think differently, and it is that very change that causes everything around you to change. I have seen people here in America, people who had lost everything: homes, jobs, even hope. But when they began to pray with true faith, they were not only helped materially, they also found themselves again. They became peaceful, light, and then, step by step, their lives were restored. You may say, but I've prayed so much, and nothing has happened. Perhaps you have forgotten that God is never silent. He is simply waiting for you to pray in the right way, with an open heart, not with fear. The forbidden Lord's Prayer is not for begging, it is for declaring. It is how you tell God that you are ready to receive. You do not ask out of lack, you give thanks out of gratitude. For true faith does not come from waiting, but from the certainty that what you pray for has already begun to take shape, even if your eyes have not yet seen it. When you speak this prayer, let your mind believe that every door of finances, work, health, relationships is opening. Believe that God is rearranging everything, even when you do not yet understand why. Believe that this universe is working with you, not against you. I remember a woman living in Dallas who wrote to me after hearing this prayer. She said that for 3 years, she had not found stable work. Her finances were difficult, debts were piling up, but she kept listening to and speaking this prayer every night, not missing a single day. After 7 days, she received a call for an interview, and a month later she had a new job with double the salary. She said, "The biggest change wasn't the money, it was faith. I felt lifted out of the darkness." That is the power of faith. When you believe, you open the door for miracles to enter. Now, if you are hearing me, take this as a sign. You did not stumble here by accident. There are thousands of videos out there, yet you chose to listen to this one. That means God is sending you a signal. He wants you to know He has never forgotten you. Wherever you are, in a small apartment, in a rented room, or driving alone late at night, He is there, right beside you, just waiting for you to say, "I believe." And when you say that, everything begins to change. You will see new people appear, new opportunities knock, messages you did not expect arrive. That is not luck. That is the result of the connection between your faith and God's plan. Before we speak this sacred prayer together, I want you to do one small thing. Place your hand over your chest and feel your heartbeat. Remember that every beat is proof that God is still giving you a chance. Every breath you take is another time, He says. I am still here. Do not let fear keep you silent. Let this prayer resound from deep within your soul. Let it become the voice of faith, of gratitude, and of restoration. When you listen, listen with your soul. When you speak, speak as if God is right before you, because the truth is He is there. And when the prayer ends, do not just walk away. Sit for a few minutes in stillness. Feel peace flow in. That is the signal that energy is moving. And as you continue to practice each day, miracles will begin to appear. If you feel this touches your heart, I invite you to journey with me long-term on this path of faith. Subscribe to the Daily Jesus Message channel so that each day we can speak the prayer together, strengthen our faith, and receive the good things God is sending. Do not let this opportunity pass. Do not let this video be only a brief moment. Let it become your new beginning, the beginning of faith, of prosperity, of true peace. Because when you listen and believe, the Forbidden Lord's Prayer is not just a prayer. It is the door that opens to a new path. And that path is leading you to the place God wants you to go, a place of light, of freedom, and of limitless blessing. Part 3. The prayer they never wanted you to hear. Have you ever felt like there is something holding you back no matter how hard you try? Like invisible walls around your life that you can't seem to break through? You pray, you work, you hope, but still, nothing changes. It feels like something or someone is keeping the doors of abundance shut. If you've ever felt that way, what I'm about to share may be the answer you've been waiting for. Because there exists a prayer so ancient, so powerful, that it was hidden for centuries. Some say it was too strong for ordinary people to use. Others say it was forbidden because it gives the believer direct access to divine manifestation, the power to call down heaven into the material world. This is what they call the Forbidden Lord's Prayer. When I first heard about it, I didn't believe it either. How could a prayer be forbidden? But then I began to learn that this prayer was not meant to be said without understanding. It carries a vibration, an energy, that awakens something deep within the spirit. It opens what many call the divine channel, the connection between your heart and the limitless source of creation. And once you open that channel, nothing can stay the same. People who have recited this prayer for 7 days straight have written to me with stories that sound unbelievable. One man said that after years of debt, he suddenly received an unexpected payment that cleared his bills. A woman said that after praying it every morning, She got a job offer she never thought possible. And many others say they simply felt a deep peace, the kind of peace that no money could buy. But before we begin, I want you to understand something. This is not magic. This is faith in motion. When you speak these words, you're not begging the universe for help. You are aligning yourself with the Creator's abundance. You are declaring that you are ready to receive. So before you hear the words, prepare your heart. Take a deep breath in and let it out slowly. Feel the weight of the day melting away. Let go of the worry about your bills, your job, your future. Let go of the fear that has been living in your chest. Right now, all you need to do is listen. Imagine standing in front of a door made of pure light. You've been knocking on it for years, and tonight, it's about to open. Now, with faith in your heart, let's begin. The Forbidden Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who is in every place, holy be your name in my life and in my path. Let your kingdom of prosperity and abundance come to me. Let your divine will of wealth be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give me this day my bread in plenty. Forgive me for every time I doubted your provision, just as I forgive those who tried to block my prosperity. Do not let me fall into the temptation of fear or lack, but deliver me from every spiritual and financial barrier, for yours is the power, the glory, and the abundance, forever. Amen. Now pause. Let the words echo inside you. This is not just a prayer. It is a declaration of alignment with divine power. If you felt something move inside, a warmth in your chest, a sudden calm, a tear forming in your eyes that is not coincidence, that is your spirit responding. That is your faith awakening. You see, the real secret of this prayer isn't in the words themselves. It's in the intention behind them. When you speak them with belief, you begin to change the frequency of your life. You stop asking from a place of desperation and start speaking from a place of divine certainty. Most people pray out of fear. They pray because they lack. But those who see miracles understand that faith is not about asking. It's about receiving what has already been given. The moment you said this prayer, something shifted in the unseen world. The energy around you began to move. You may not see it yet, but doors are beginning to open. Conversations are being prepared. Opportunities are being arranged. Remember this truth. God never ignores faith. So from today forward, speak this prayer once a day for 7 days. Every morning when you wake up, or every night before you sleep, close your eyes and say it slowly. Feel each word. Believe that your life is being rewritten as you speak. And here's the key. Do not just wait for miracles. Prepare for them. Check your email. Answer that phone call. Say yes to that opportunity. Because faith without action is only half alive. The universe, or God, or whatever name you give to that divine force, doesn't just give, it responds. It meets you halfway. When you move with faith, heaven moves with you. Some people will listen to this and forget it tomorrow. They will go back to fear, to worry, to doubt. But some of you, the ones who feel that something deep inside you just woke up, you will continue. You will repeat this prayer for 7 days. And those 7 days can change everything. I have seen it. I have lived it. And now it's your turn. Let this prayer become your declaration. Say it not as a beggar, but as a child of God. You are not asking for permission to prosper. You are accepting what was already promised to you. Every word is a key. Every repetition opens a new door. And as you continue, you will notice subtle signs. The right people showing up. Opportunities aligning. Peace returning to your heart. That is the proof that faith is alive. Right now, if this message touched you, if you felt even the smallest spark of hope, I want you to do one simple thing. Write in the comments, I receive. It may sound small, but it's powerful. Because when you write those words, you are making a declaration before the universe. You are saying, I am ready. I believe. I receive. And when you do, watch what happens next. You might wake up to an unexpected message. You might find money you forgot you had. You might get a phone call that changes your week. Or you might simply feel a deep calm, a knowing that everything is about to turn around. That is how miracles begin. Quietly. softly, but surely. Remember this. The same God who provides for the birds of the air and the lilies of the field has already written provision into your story. All he asks is that you believe long enough to see it. If you want to continue this journey of faith, if you want daily prayers, biblical reflections, and messages that feed your spirit, subscribe to Daily Jesus Message. This channel exists to remind you that God still works miracles, that abundance is still possible, and that faith can still move mountains. Subscribe now, turn on the bell, and make this your space of daily renewal, because the more you stay connected to faith, the stronger the flow of blessings becomes. You were not meant to struggle forever. You were meant to rise. Let this be the night everything changes. The prayer has been spoken, the seed has been planted. Now believe, act, and watch the harvest unfold. Part 4. The shift has begun. Something changed the moment you spoke that prayer. You may not see it yet, but the atmosphere around your life is no longer the same. The energy has shifted. Heaven heard you. For years you may have been pushing, fighting, and trying to make things happen by your own strength. But the instant those words left your lips, the weight began to lift. The struggle started to loosen its grip. You may not understand how or why, but something unseen has already started moving in your favor. That is how faith works. Quietly, invisibly, powerfully. And yet, this is the moment when most people give up. They pray once, feel something, and then return to fear, to doubt, to the noise of the world. But faith is not a moment. It is a practice. It is not something you feel once. It is something you live every day. So before you leave this moment, I want to ask you a question. What if the miracle you've been waiting for is already on its way, but it's waiting for your consistency? What if the difference between an unanswered prayer and a manifested one is not God's delay, but your hesitation to keep believing? For the next 7 days, I want you to hold on to faith like it's oxygen. Speak the forbidden Lord's Prayer once every day. Say it with your heart, not your fear. Don't rush through the words. Feel them. Let them vibrate through you. When you wake up, whisper it before checking your phone. When you lie in bed at night, let it be the last thing your soul hears. Because repetition is not empty. It's powerful. Each time you say those words, you are reinforcing your alignment with divine abundance. Each time you repeat them, you are declaring to the universe, I am ready to receive. And I promise you this, if you truly commit, something inside you will change first. Then, everything around you will follow. I want to tell you a story. A few months ago, a man from Florida reached out after hearing this very prayer. He was a single father, working 2 jobs, trying to stay afloat. He said, I prayed it every night for 7 days. On the 3rd day, nothing happened. On the 4th, I started to doubt, but on the 5th, something inside me told me to keep going. On the 6th day, he woke up with a strange sense of peace. No extra money, no miracle email, just peace. But that peace gave him the clarity to make one phone call he had been avoiding for months. That call led to a new business opportunity, and within 2 weeks, his situation completely shifted. He said, it wasn't that the prayer gave me money, it gave me faith again, and faith opened the door. That is what happens when you keep believing long enough for God to move. The universe always responds to consistency. So, as you continue this 7-day journey, I want you to remember this truth. Faith is not a feeling, it is a decision. You don't have to feel strong. You just have to keep choosing to believe. There will be days when fear whispers in your ear. It will say, nothing's happening. You're wasting your time. This doesn't work. When that voice comes, don't argue with it. Simply speak the prayer again. Say it softly, but say it with certainty. Because every time you choose faith over fear, you win a battle the enemy can't stand. And soon, your reality begins to catch up with your faith. You may notice small signs at first, a person who offers help, a bill that gets delayed, a conversation that opens a new opportunity. These are not coincidences. They are confirmations. They are the universe's way of saying, keep going. You're on the right path. When you start to see these things, Thank God immediately. Gratitude multiplies blessings. The more thankful you are, the faster abundance flows. So here is your simple practice for the next 7 days. Each morning, say the prayer once. Each night, write down 3 things you are grateful for, even if they are small. Did you wake up today? Be grateful. Did you eat? Be grateful. Did you have a roof over your head? Be grateful. Gratitude turns what you have into enough, and what you desire into reality. And don't keep this to yourself. When you share light, light multiplies. Tell one friend or family member to join you in this prayer. Maybe someone you love is struggling financially or emotionally. Send them the video. Let them know they are not alone. Because when 2 or more agree in faith, miracles multiply. If you are watching this right now and you can feel something shifting inside you, a warmth, a calm, or a sudden sense of hope that is not random, that is your confirmation. That is the divine saying, yes, this message is for you. Take it seriously, because in 7 days, if you truly commit, you will not be the same person. Your thoughts will be lighter, your words will carry more power, and your life will begin to align with peace and abundance. But remember, this prayer is not a magic formula. It's a partnership. You pray, and then you act. When opportunity knocks, open the door. When a thought tells you to send that email, make that call. Apply for that position, do it. That's how faith becomes alive. Faith is motion, and motion attracts miracles. Every time you move in faith, heaven moves with you. So keep going, day after day, word after word. I know that right now, it might be hard to believe that everything could change. But think about this, you are still here. You have survived everything that was meant to destroy you. That means purpose still lives inside you. You are not finished. You are being prepared. And this prayer, this moment, is part of that preparation. When you start to believe again, the world starts to believe in you. When you start to open your heart, divine favor finds its way in. Right now, your only job is to trust. The rest will follow. Take another deep breath. Let your shoulders relax. Let your mind quiet down. Feel the peace returning. That peace is the proof. That peace is God whispering. You are safe. You are provided for. Keep walking. If this message has spoken to you, if you can feel that peace settling over you right now, I invite you to go deeper. Join me and thousands of others who are walking this same path of faith and renewal. Subscribe to Daily Jesus Message. Each day, you will receive new prayers, reflections, and spiritual guidance designed to strengthen your faith, attract abundance, and remind you that God still works miracles today. Don't let this be the last time you feed your spirit. Stay connected. Keep the fire alive. Because when faith becomes your habit, miracles become your lifestyle. This is only the beginning. The shift has already begun. Keep your heart open, keep your words alive, and watch. Just watch what unfolds next. Part 5. When the impossible starts to move. Have you ever woken up one morning and felt that something in the air was different? You can't explain it, but the heaviness that used to press on your chest is gone. The same worries that kept you awake don't seem as strong. You breathe a little easier. You feel lighter. You can't see it yet, but deep down, you know something has started to move. That's what happens when faith begins to take root. The moment you decided to believe, the universe started to rearrange itself around your decision. Heaven heard your prayer the first time you spoke it. What's happening now is not the creation of blessings. It's the alignment of timing. Everything that was meant for you is finding its way back. For days, months, maybe even years, you may have felt stuck financially, emotionally, spiritually. You may have prayed, worked hard, and still felt like nothing was happening. But faith doesn't always reveal itself instantly. Sometimes it hides behind silence, testing how long you're willing to keep believing when you see no sign at all. And that is where miracles are born, not in the noise, but in the quiet places where you keep trusting even when nothing seems to change. Many people start the 7-day prayer and expect something huge to happen overnight. But what truly happens is deeper. It begins within. The first miracle is not in your bank account, your job, or your circumstances. It's in your spirit. You begin to think differently. You begin to talk differently. The same problems that once scared you start to look smaller. You stop saying I can't and start whispering, maybe I can. That is the spark of divine confidence. And that spark is the beginning of transformation. I want you to pay attention to what happens in the next few days. Don't look for fireworks. Look for whispers. Maybe you'll get a phone call from someone you haven't heard from in years. Maybe a job posting will suddenly show up online. Maybe you'll remember an idea you had long ago, one you pushed aside because you thought it was impossible. Those are not coincidences. Those are signs that the impossible has started to move. There's a rhythm to faith. First, you believe. Then, the world adjusts. It doesn't happen all at once, but it always begins the same way, with a decision to trust, a decision to continue. There was a woman from California who shared her story after completing the 7-day prayer. She said, I didn't win the lottery. I didn't suddenly become rich. But I woke up every morning with peace I hadn't felt in years. I started to smile again. On the 7th day, I felt free. 2 weeks later, she got a job offer she hadn't even applied for. The manager told her that her name had come up in conversation, and they thought she'd be perfect for the role. She said, that's when I realized the prayer didn't just change my situation. It changed my energy, and my energy changed everything else. That is how this works. You don't chase blessings. You attract them by becoming aligned with who you're meant to be. Think of it like tuning a radio. The station was always broadcasting, but you couldn't hear it until you adjusted the dial. Once you do, the message comes through clearly. The same happens with your life. God's blessings were never gone. You just had to tune your heart to the right frequency. And every time you say the forbidden Lord's Prayer, you are tuning closer to that signal. If you've made it this far, you've already done something that most people never do. You've chosen to stay. You've chosen to believe. You've chosen to give faith another chance. That decision alone has already set miracles in motion. But now comes the most important part, sustaining it. Faith without consistency fades. It's like fire without wood. It burns bright at first, but slowly dies out if you don't feed it. That's why I want you to continue even after the 7 days. Make this prayer a part of your daily rhythm. Let it become your morning light, your nightly calm, your anchor in the storm. Because the truth is, this prayer isn't just about money or success. It's about peace. It's about learning to trust again in God, in life, in yourself. There's something powerful about a person who walks with quiet faith. You can feel it when they enter a room. They don't beg life to be kind. They expect it to be. They know who holds their future, so they move with calm confidence. That's who you are becoming. And I know, somewhere deep inside, part of you already feels it. That quiet certainty, that inner peace that doesn't depend on circumstances. That's your soul remembering the truth that you were never alone, never forgotten, never unloved. You've just been walking through the preparation for your breakthrough. When God prepares to bless you, He doesn't start with your surroundings. He starts with your heart. He strengthens it, tests it, and teaches it to hold what's coming. Because blessing without foundation collapses. So if your journey has felt heavy, don't see it as punishment. See it as training. Every challenge was shaping the strength you'll need to carry what's next. And what's next is greater than what you've lost. The same door that seemed closed yesterday may open tomorrow. The person who walked away may make space for someone better. The opportunity that slipped through your hands may return tenfold when the time is right. All you have to do is stay ready. Keep believing. Keep praying. Keep your energy open and your faith strong. Because the same God who began this work in you will finish it. And while you wait, don't wait in worry. Wait in gratitude. Gratitude is what turns waiting into receiving. Every time you say thank you, even before the miracle arrives, you're pulling it closer. So, right now, wherever you are, maybe you're in your car, at work, or sitting alone in a quiet room, close your eyes for a moment and whisper, thank you. Thank you for what I can't see yet. Thank you for what's already on its way. Thank you for what I've survived. Thank you for what's about to begin. That is the posture of faith. That is the sound of a miracle in progress. If you've been following this journey from the beginning, you've already proven something extraordinary, that you are willing to grow, to believe, to rise. And I want you to stay connected, because this is only the beginning. Subscribe to Daily Jesus Message right now and continue walking with us. Every day, you'll receive prayers and reflections that will strengthen your faith, renew your hope, and remind you that God still moves in the modern world. Don't let this energy fade. Keep the fire alive, because when you believe long enough, the impossible starts to move. And one morning soon, you will wake up and realize that what once felt unreachable has become your reality. The struggle will make sense. The delay will reveal its purpose, and you'll know, without a doubt, that the prayer you whispered in faith was never forgotten. This is your time. Your season of breakthrough has already begun. Stay faithful, stay open, and watch how heaven responds to a heart that never stopped believing. Part 6. The Signs of Miracles. There comes a moment when everything you've been praying for begins to whisper that it's on its way. You don't see it fully yet, but you can feel it. The air feels lighter. The same world looks softer. Something inside you keeps saying, "It's happening." That moment is sacred, because it's the first proof that heaven heard you. Most people think miracles arrive in lightning flashes, loud, dramatic, impossible to miss. But the truth is, the biggest miracles often enter our lives quietly, disguised as ordinary moments that shift everything. It might start with a phone call, a message, a small check you weren't expecting, or maybe it's something deeper, like waking up one morning and realizing that the anxiety you carried for years is gone, that you can breathe again without the weight of fear pressing on your chest. That's not coincidence. That's the sound of faith becoming real. When you pray consistently, especially with the words of the forbidden Lord's Prayer, you start to align with the rhythm of divine timing. Things that were stuck begin to move. Delays start to dissolve. People who were meant to leave your life drift away, and those who were meant to help you suddenly appear. Faith has a way of rearranging your reality without asking for permission. If you've been following this journey, praying every day, and believing even when you didn't see results, then listen closely, your miracle has already begun. One of the most common things people tell me after practicing this prayer is that they start to notice signs everywhere. Numbers repeating, doors opening, conversations flowing with ease, a sense that something unseen is guiding every step. A man from Chicago once wrote to me. He said, "After I started the 7-day prayer, I began noticing things I used to ignore. The right people showed up at the right time. I stopped forcing things. I just started trusting." By the 7th day, he received an email confirming a job he had applied for months earlier, a position he thought he'd lost. He said, "The strange part was, I wasn't surprised. I just smiled and said, 'Of course,' because deep down, I already knew it was coming." That's what happens when faith becomes part of your identity. You stop chasing. You start expecting. The shift isn't outside, it's inside. You no longer pray from fear. You pray from certainty. You don't hope that things will change. You know they already are. And that certainty is magnetic. It draws in blessings like gravity. If you've been listening to these words from the beginning, you've probably noticed that something in you feels stronger now. Maybe you feel more patient. Maybe your heart feels calmer. Or maybe you just feel ready for whatever comes next. That readiness is not random. It's preparation. Before God delivers blessings, He prepares the vessel, and you, my friend, are being prepared. There's a woman I once met who told me a story I'll never forget. She had been praying this same prayer for months. Not for money, but for peace. She said, "At first, nothing changed. My bills were still due. My problems were still there. But one morning, I woke up and realized that I wasn't afraid anymore." She went on to say, "That morning, I checked my mailbox, and there it was, a letter saying my debt had been forgiven. But the miracle wasn't the letter. The miracle was that I had peace before I even saw it. That is the secret. Miracles don't happen to you. They happen through you. When your heart finds peace, the world around you mirrors it back. And that's why you can't stop now. You've come too far to turn back to fear. Keep speaking the prayer. Keep trusting the process. Because every time you speak those words, you are building momentum in the unseen world. You may not feel it every day. Some days will be heavy, quiet, uncertain. But even then, faith is still working. Think of it like a seed in the ground. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not growing. It's taking root, quietly, powerfully, beneath the surface. Then, one day, it breaks through. Maybe that breakthrough looks like an opportunity you've been waiting for. Maybe it's a person entering your life at the perfect time. Or maybe it's the strength to finally close a chapter that's been hurting you. Whatever it is, it will come. And when it does, you'll know it wasn't luck, it was alignment. And when you see it, I want you to pause. Don't rush past it. Acknowledge it. Whisper, thank you. Because gratitude keeps the flow of blessings alive. Gratitude is like oxygen for miracles. The more thankful you are, the faster abundance finds you. If you've been feeling disconnected lately, like your faith is running on empty, here's something simple you can do. Go back to where this journey started. Replay the prayer. Close your eyes. Say it again with full belief. Imagine light surrounding you, not a metaphorical light, but something real, something you can almost feel touching your skin. That light is the presence of divine energy, wrapping around you, reminding you that you are never alone. Every prayer you've spoken has been heard. Every tear you've cried has been seen, and not a single moment of faith has gone unnoticed. Right now, you are being guided. Even the delays, even the detours, they all have meaning. Maybe the job didn't work out because something better is being prepared. Maybe the person who left made space for someone who will love you deeper. Maybe the struggle you went through was the very thing that built the faith you needed for what's coming next. Nothing is wasted. You've been asking for a sign, and here it is. This message, these words are that sign. It's not an accident that you're here. It's not luck that you found this. It's divine timing. So don't quit. Don't slow down. Stay with the process. Because you are closer than you think. Faith doesn't always show you the full picture. Sometimes it only shows you one small step. But when you take that step, the next one appears. That's how miracles unfold, one obedient step at a time. Keep your heart open, your words alive, and your hope steady. And when the blessings start to appear, because they will remember that this was never about asking, it was about becoming. You are not waiting for the miracle. You are the miracle in motion. If this message touched your heart today, if you can feel peace rising inside you, let this be your confirmation to continue. Don't walk away from what's working. Stay connected. Subscribe to Daily Jesus Message and join thousands who are walking this same path. People who, like you, have chosen to believe again. Every day, you'll receive messages of hope, prayers of strength, and stories of faith that will keep your spirit awake. Let this be your space of renewal, your reminder that miracles are not distant dreams. They are happening right now. For those who choose to see, the signs are already here. The blessings are already forming. You just have to keep walking in faith until they meet you halfway. And when they do, you'll look back on this moment, on this very prayer, and realize that this was where everything began. Part 7. When heaven answers. You know that moment right before the sun rises, when the sky is still dark, but you can feel that light is coming. That is exactly where you are right now. The darkness is not the end. It's the sign that dawn is near. For days you've been praying. For nights you've been whispering the same words, hoping something would finally shift. You kept your faith even when nothing seemed to happen. You kept repeating the prayer, even when your mind told you it was pointless. And now the energy has changed. Something has broken open in the unseen world. The delay is over. You may not see it fully yet, but you can feel it in the peace that didn't exist before, in the confidence that doesn't make sense, in the way your heart beats a little stronger when you pray. That is not imagination. That is evidence. Heaven has already begun to move. People often think that answered prayers arrive like thunder loud. impossible to miss. But most of the time, they arrive like morning light, soft but unstoppable. Slowly, quietly, your life begins to brighten. One by one, pieces start to fall into place. The email you've been waiting for finally comes. The opportunity you thought you missed opens again. A person you never expected reaches out with help. Bills get paid, doors open, and your heart finally rests. But the biggest miracle of all is not the money, not the success, not the opportunity. It's the peace that settles inside you. The deep knowing that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. That peace is heaven's signature. You see, when you prayed the forbidden Lord's Prayer, you weren't just asking for blessings. You were aligning yourself with divine flow. You were saying, God, I trust you. I release control. And the moment you did that, heaven responded. Faith doesn't make God move. It makes you move into his timing. When you let go, when you stop trying to force outcomes, miracles find you with ease. A man from New York wrote to me not long ago. He said he had prayed this prayer for 7 days while going through a divorce and losing his business at the same time. He said, on the 3rd day, I was angry. On the 5th, I was numb. On the 7th, I was free. He didn't mean everything suddenly got fixed. He meant that the fear left him. He said, I finally stopped trying to save myself and just let God handle it. 3 weeks later, a new partnership came out of nowhere, and his business began to rebuild better than before. That's what divine alignment looks like. It's not always instant, but it's always perfect. The same power that worked for him is working for you. You might not be able to trace every detail yet, but trust this. The hand of God is already arranging the path ahead. You don't have to understand it. You just have to keep walking in faith. Every prayer you've whispered, every tear you've cried, every quiet moment of surrender, it all matters. It's all part of the process. Maybe you've been feeling lighter lately, like a burden has been lifted. That's not by chance. That's the effect of releasing what no longer serves you. Miracles always begin with release. When you stop clinging to fear, to people, to outcomes, you make space for heaven to move. This is why the 7-day prayer works so powerfully, because it breaks the chains of control and replaces them with trust. And now, after days of faith, you've entered the place where things start to manifest. You'll notice it in conversations that lead to unexpected blessings. You'll notice it in coincidences that don't feel like coincidences. You'll notice it in how opportunities seem to find you instead of you chasing them. That is what divine timing feels like. Effortless. It's the moment when everything that once felt hard starts to flow with grace. But here's something important to remember. The blessing is not just a reward. It's an invitation. God doesn't give to impress. He gives to draw you closer. When you receive your breakthrough, whether it's peace, provision, or restoration, don't forget to give thanks. Gratitude anchors miracles in your life. The more thankful you are, the more the universe entrusts you with. A woman from Seattle once told me that after her breakthrough, she began to pray not for more, but to maintain the peace she had found. She said, I realized that the prayer didn't just change my life. It changed who I am. I became someone who trusts. That's the ultimate transformation, not just living in abundance, but living in faith. When you live in faith, you don't panic when challenges come. You don't question every delay. You know that if something is not working, something better is being prepared. That's how people of faith move: calm, steady, unshaken. And that's how you're beginning to move too, because this prayer has done more than attract blessings, it has awakened your power. The same power that created the universe lives within you, waiting for belief to activate it. When you spoke those words, Our Father who is in every place, you called that power forward, and now it's responding. Doors will open, not because you begged for them to, but because you finally believed you deserved them. That's what happens when faith becomes your foundation. You don't chase the light, you become it. Right now, the world around you is responding to your new energy. People will notice something different about you: the calm, the glow, the peace. They might not know what changed, but you will. And that's your responsibility now, to carry that light forward. Because faith is not something you keep, it's something you share. Someone in your life needs this message. Maybe a friend, maybe a family member, maybe someone who looks strong but is silently breaking. Be the person who passes it on. Because when you share faith, it multiplies. And as you give, you will receive more. That is how the law of divine flow works. What you release returns to you multiplied. If you are hearing this right now, take it as your confirmation. Heaven has answered. It may not look like you expected, but the miracle is real. You are walking in it right now. So lift your head, smile again, walk with confidence, because the prayer you whispered in faith has already become reality. And as you continue this journey, don't stop feeding your spirit. Stay close to the Word, stay close to faith. Subscribe to Daily Jesus Message, and let these daily prayers keep your heart aligned with peace and purpose. Every message you hear will remind you that God's promises are still alive, that your story is still unfolding, and that your best days are still ahead. Don't let this moment fade. Protect it, nurture it, keep your spirit open, because this, right now, is your dawn. The night is over. The light has come. You've waited. You've prayed. You've believed. And heaven has answered. Part 7. The moment everything changes. Have you ever reached a point where something inside you suddenly whispers, "This is it. Everything is about to change"? That quiet voice doesn't come from your mind. It comes from your spirit. It's the sound of heaven confirming that your waiting season is ending. You have been walking through days of faith, praying when no one saw you, believing when nothing made sense. You kept showing up, repeating the same words, trusting that somehow, some way, something was listening. And now, the atmosphere has shifted. This is the moment when the unseen becomes visible. The same words you spoke in faith have begun to echo back into your life as answered prayers. The energy around you feels lighter because the resistance has lifted. The door that felt locked is beginning to open. You can feel it in the small things first. You start waking up with peace instead of anxiety. The same routine doesn't feel as heavy. You catch yourself smiling without reason. And somewhere deep inside, you know that the storm is broken. That is what divine timing feels like. It doesn't shout. It whispers. One day, you simply notice that the pressure is gone. The same bills that once terrified you start getting paid, one by one. The job that seemed out of reach suddenly calls back. The opportunities that disappeared find their way back to you. It's not luck, it's alignment. For months, maybe even years, you carried burdens that weren't yours to hold. You tried to fix everything by yourself. But when you finally surrendered, when you prayed with faith instead of fear, the universe began to move on your behalf. Heaven always responds to surrender. A man once wrote to me from Atlanta. He said he had been reciting the Forbidden Lord's Prayer every night for 7 days. At first, he felt nothing. On the 3rd day, he wanted to quit. But on the 7th, something strange happened. He woke up and felt peace for the first time in years. The problems hadn't vanished, but the fear had. 2 weeks later, his situation shifted completely. A debt that haunted him for months was suddenly cleared, not by his doing, but through a chain of coincidences that made no logical sense. He ended his message with these words: "The miracle wasn't the money. The miracle was that I stopped being afraid." That's what happens when faith matures. It changes you before it changes your circumstances. When fear leaves your heart, blessings find space to enter. And maybe that's where you are right now, standing in the middle of change, sensing that something powerful is taking shape beneath the surface. You can't see it clearly yet, but you can feel it moving. Don't doubt it. Trust it. Faith rarely announces itself with noise. It works in silence. The seed grows underground before anyone sees the bloom. If you could see how close you are to your breakthrough, you would never doubt again. Right now, everything that once resisted you is beginning to rearrange itself. The same people who overlooked you will notice you. The same doors that closed will reopen. The same circumstances that drained you will become your testimony. Because this time, you're not fighting for blessings, you're flowing with them. You are no longer begging God for a miracle, you're walking inside one. The truth is, your miracle didn't start today. It started the moment you believed. It started when you chose to keep praying, even when you didn't feel anything. It started when you whispered, "I trust you," in the middle of uncertainty. Heaven heard that whisper, and it was enough. There's something sacred about faith that refuses to quit. Every time you said the prayer, you were not just repeating words, you were building a bridge between where you are and where you're meant to be. Now you're standing on that bridge, halfway between prayer and fulfillment. All that's left is to keep walking. Don't let impatience steal your peace. The same God who began this journey with you will finish it. Every detail is being woven together perfectly. Every delay is protection. Every no is making room for a better yes. The challenge now is to keep your heart open long enough to see it all unfold. There was a woman from Boston who said, "When I prayed this prayer, I expected money. Instead, I found clarity." She realized the relationship she was in was draining her spirit. 2 days after letting go, new opportunities started flooding in. She said, "I thought I was losing something, but I was actually being freed." That's how divine intervention works. It doesn't always give you what you want. It gives you what will set you free. So if something has recently ended, a job, a friendship, a situation, don't see it as loss. See it as clearing space. The next chapter can't begin while your hands are still full of the old one. Your prayer is still working. Your faith is still creating. And very soon, you'll see the first signs of manifestation, unexpected messages, restored relationships, ideas that suddenly make sense, peace that feels unshakable. When that happens, don't rush past it. Take a moment to breathe, smile, and say, "Thank you." Gratitude is what keeps miracles alive. If you've been feeling like you're on the edge of something new, you are. The next version of your life is already forming. The blessings you've been praying for are moving closer every day. Keep your words filled with faith. Keep your heart soft. Keep walking forward, even when the path is unclear. Because faith doesn't demand proof, it creates it. And when the proof comes, when you finally see the evidence of everything you've believed, you'll realize that the waiting wasn't wasted. It was preparation. The silence was never abandonment. It was set up right now. The answer to your prayer is already traveling toward you. Maybe it's in the form of a person, a call, an opportunity, or even a realization that changes how you see everything. When it arrives, let it in. Don't question if you deserve it. You do. You always did. And when that moment comes, when heaven answers, remember to give back what you've learned. Someone out there is still where you were, praying for a sign. Be that sign. Share your story. Share the prayer. Be the proof that faith works. If these words have reached you tonight, don't let them fade away. Hold on to them. Let them settle into your heart. And if you want to stay connected to this kind of peace, this kind of power, subscribe to Daily Jesus Message. Each day, you'll find new prayers, reflections, and words that strengthen your spirit and remind you that faith still works, miracles still happen, and light always wins. Because this isn't the end of your story, this is the turning point. You prayed, you waited, you believed, and now heaven is answering. This is your moment. This is the dawn after the longest night. The light is here. Part 8. Living in the flow of miracles. Have you ever wondered what happens after the miracle? After the moment you prayed for, finally arrives the job, the breakthrough, the peace you've been waiting for. What comes next? Because if you've been walking through this journey, you already know the truth. Miracles don't just happen once. They are meant to keep flowing. And the key to that flow is faith that doesn't fade when life feels comfortable again. The test of faith isn't how you believe when you're desperate. It's how you continue to believe when things begin to work. Right now, something in your life has started to move. You've felt it. You've seen small signs, conversations lining up, ideas forming, peace returning. The storm is clearing. But this moment right now is where many people stop. They celebrate the miracle and forget the process that created it. Don't lose what you've built. The same faith that opened the door is the faith that will keep it open. Think back to the first time you said the forbidden Lord's Prayer. Maybe your voice was shaking. Maybe you didn't believe every word yet, but you said it anyway. And something shifted. That shift didn't come from the prayer alone. It came from your faith, from your decision to trust. Now imagine what could happen if you made that trust a way of life. Faith isn't meant to be a moment. It's meant to be a rhythm. When you wake up, when you go to work, when you face challenges, when you rest, your life becomes a living prayer. Not just words you speak, but energy you carry. This is how miracles become lifestyle. A woman once told me, after the prayer worked, I stopped worrying about everything. It wasn't that my problems disappeared, but they no longer controlled me. She said her peace became her power, and from that peace, new opportunities kept appearing, better relationships, unexpected income, doors she never imagined. That's the flow of divine abundance. When your heart stays open, life stays open. But keeping that flow requires intention, because after the light comes, life still happens. There will still be challenges. Bills will still arrive. People will still test your peace. That's normal. But your reaction no longer has to be the same. When your faith matures, you no longer panic at the first sign of a storm. You smile, because you know the storm doesn't have the last word. God does. This is where your next level begins, not by waiting for miracles, but by living like one. Wake up each morning and remind yourself, I am already blessed. Even before anything new happens, even when the day feels ordinary, speak those words until your heart believes them again. Because words shape reality. The same tongue that prayed for blessings also has the power to protect them, and when gratitude becomes your language, lack loses its voice. Look around you right now. Every breath you take is proof that God hasn't finished with you. Every heartbeat is a reminder that purpose still runs through your veins. You were not chosen to live in fear. You were chosen to walk in light. The more you walk in that light, the more it grows. People begin to feel it around you, in your tone, your peace, your energy. You become the living proof that faith works. And that is exactly what this world needs, people who carry peace into chaos, people who don't just talk about miracles, but are miracles. You might not see yourself that way yet, but you are becoming that person, the one who believes even when others doubt, the one who lifts others up when they're losing hope, the one who carries grace wherever they go. That's what happens when you let faith change you from the inside out. A man from Houston once shared his story. After months of financial struggle, he began this prayer journey. His situation didn't change overnight, but his mindset did. He said, I stopped chasing money and started chasing peace. And once I had peace, the money followed. That is the power of divine order. When your heart aligns with faith, everything else begins to align too. So if you want to keep this energy alive, don't just pray for what you need. Thank God for what you already have. Gratitude isn't about ignoring your challenges. It's about focusing on what's still working. And that focus is what keeps the door of blessing open. Because the truth is, miracles are not rare. Awareness is. Most people miss them because they're looking for thunder, when God often speaks in whispers. When you pay attention, you'll realize you're surrounded by blessings already. The right people, the right moments, the strength to keep going, those are miracles too. You have made it through things that should have broken you. You have survived nights that felt endless. And here you are listening, breathing, still believing. That alone is evidence of grace. You are living proof that faith works. But this is only the beginning. The prayer that brought you this far is meant to carry you even further. Keep saying it, not out of need, but out of love. Let it be your way of staying connected to divine energy. When you speak it now, you're not asking, you're affirming. You're saying, I trust, I receive, I give thanks. And that's the highest form of prayer. If there's one thing to remember as you move forward, it's this. Stay open. Stay open to learning, to giving, to listening, to believing. Stay open to the unexpected ways that blessings can find you. Because faith is not about controlling the outcome. It's about trusting the journey. And you, my friend, are already walking in that trust. You've come too far to go back to fear. You've seen too much light to return to darkness. Now it's your turn to become the example to show others that faith is real, that miracles still happen, that hope is never wasted. Someone you know needs to hear your story. Someone you love is waiting for the same breakthrough you've just experienced. Share it. Let your life be a testimony, because when you share faith, you multiply it. And as you continue on this path, remember you never walk alone. The same divine presence that carried you here will guide you to what's next. So don't be afraid of the future. Walk into it with confidence. Smile at what's coming, because it's already yours. And as you do, stay connected with this community of faith. Subscribe to Daily Jesus Message and continue this journey of daily prayer and reflection. Let every message remind you that God is still speaking, still providing, still blessing. Let every word you hear be a spark that keeps your spirit alive. Because miracles are not moments that pass. They are movements that continue. And now that you've stepped into that movement, there's no turning back. The flow of blessings has begun, and it will not stop. So breathe, believe, and walk forward. You are living in the flow of miracles. Part 9. Walking in Daily Faith. Do you remember the moment you first felt peace again? That quiet second when the noise in your mind faded and you could finally breathe. Hold on to that feeling, because that was not just peace. That was proof. Proof that your faith had reached heaven. Proof that you had entered a new season. You are not the same person who started this journey. You've changed. You think differently. You speak differently. You see life with new eyes. That's what happens when faith becomes real. It transforms everything from the inside out. But now comes the most important part, keeping it. Because the same world that tested your faith before will try to test it again. Fear will try to whisper. Doubt will try to return. People might not understand the new peace you carry, but none of that can touch you unless you let it. This is where your strength is proven, not in fighting storms, but in staying calm inside them. So when the noise of life comes back, and it will remember what brought you here, remember that the same God who opened the door can keep it open. The same light that broke through the darkness can keep shining. You don't have to chase blessings anymore. You just have to stay aligned with them. Every morning when you wake up, before you check your phone, before the world begins to pull you in different directions, pause, breathe, whisper a simple prayer. Thank you. That's all it takes to reconnect with divine flow. Gratitude resets your energy. It reminds your spirit that abundance is still surrounding you. And when you start your day in gratitude, everything that follows moves differently. Conversations flow smoother. Opportunities find you. Even problems become lessons instead of burdens. This is how you live in faith daily, not by forcing miracles, but by expecting them. Faith is not a switch you turn on and off. It's a rhythm, a pulse that keeps your heart aligned with heaven. You've already seen what faith can do. You've felt it. You've watched doors open and peace return. Now it's time to walk in that power every day. There's a man from Arizona who once told me, after the 7 days of prayer, I didn't just see changes in my finances, I saw changes in my attitude. I stopped reacting to everything. I started trusting more. And suddenly, life stopped feeling like a fight. That's what daily faith does. It turns struggle into surrender. It turns waiting into peace. When you walk in daily faith, you stop asking, when will things change? And start saying, things are already changing. That shift in words is powerful, because every word you speak carries energy. Words build worlds. So speak life, speak peace, speak gratitude. Don't talk about lack, talk about provision. Don't focus on what's missing. Focus on what's already working, because what you focus on expands. If you feed fear, fear grows. If you feed faith, faith multiplies. And soon, your whole life becomes a reflection of what you believe. That's how you protect your blessing, by protecting your words, your thoughts, your energy. The world will try to pull you back into doubt. It will tell you that faith doesn't make sense, that hope is naive, that miracles are just luck. But deep down, You already know the truth. You've seen too much to stop believing now. So don't argue with doubt, just outlive it. Keep showing up with peace. Keep choosing gratitude. Keep trusting even when logic says you shouldn't, because faith was never meant to make sense. It was meant to make power. If you ever feel yourself slipping back into fear, go back to the prayer that started it all. Close your eyes. Speak those words again. Our Father, who is in every place. Feel the weight of those words. They remind you that you are never alone. Whenever life feels uncertain, that prayer will bring you back home. And remember, faith is not about pretending you have no problems. It's about knowing you have a provider, even in the hard days, even in the silence. Even when you can't see what's coming next, faith says, I may not know how, but I know who. That truth is your anchor. Because real faith is not built on outcomes. It's built on relationship. The more you trust, the more peace you find. The more peace you have, the more blessings flow. It's a circle that never stops. A woman from Miami told me her story recently. She said, I used to panic every time something went wrong. Now, I just take a deep breath and say, God's got this. And somehow, He always does. That's the peace you've been building. That's the kind of faith that can't be shaken anymore. You've reached a place where you no longer pray out of desperation. You pray out of connection, out of love, out of trust. And when you live that way, miracles become normal. You stop asking, why me? And start saying, thank you, God, for choosing me. Every day becomes a blessing to witness, a chance to grow, a reminder that divine power is still moving. That's the purpose of this journey, not just to see one miracle, but to become a vessel for many. Now you are meant to share what you've learned. Tell your story. Let others know what faith has done for you. Someone out there is where you once were scared, tired, unsure. They need your voice. They need your light. And as you share it, your own light grows brighter, because the more you give faith, the more you receive it back. So keep your heart open. Keep your spirit clean. Keep walking in peace. And when life feels quiet, don't mistake that silence for absence. Sometimes God hides in stillness so you can hear Him better. Stay connected. Stay thankful. Stay believing. If you've been walking with us through this journey, you already know that faith changes everything. So don't stop here. Keep feeding your soul. Subscribe to Daily Jesus Message and continue this rhythm of faith. Every message, every prayer, every story is designed to keep your spirit strong and your peace steady. Because life doesn't get easier, your faith just gets stronger. And when faith becomes your foundation, nothing can shake you. You'll still face storms, but now you'll walk through them with calm. You'll still have challenges, but now you'll see them as preparation. You'll still have dreams, but now you'll chase them with confidence. That's the power of living in daily faith. So tonight, before you sleep, whisper a simple truth. I am guided. I am protected. I am provided for. Say it until your heart believes it. Because when your heart believes, heaven moves. You are walking in the light now. You are living proof that faith works. Don't forget where you started. Don't forget who brought you here. And never stop believing. Because the story isn't over. The best part is just beginning. Part 10, the beginning of forever. There is a moment, right before every great breakthrough, when time seems to stop. The air feels still. The noise fades. And all you can hear is your heartbeat steady, calm, alive. That's the sound of peace after the storm. If you're listening to this right now, take a breath and realize something sacred. You made it. You've come through the doubt, the waiting, the uncertainty. You've walked through the fire and found peace on the other side. You didn't just survive, you transformed. The person you are now carries light. You no longer chase miracles, you attract them. You no longer pray out of fear, you pray from confidence. You no longer wait for peace, you live inside it. And that is what this journey has been all about. From the very first moment, you whispered the forbidden Lord's Prayer. Something inside you started to awaken. Every word you spoke was a key, unlocking doors that had been closed for too long. Every repetition was a seed, planted in faith, watered with trust. And now, The garden of your spirit is blooming. You can see it in the way you handle challenges, calmer, wiser, more certain. You can feel it in the way life moves now, smoother, quieter, but full of meaning. The same world you once feared now feels like home again. That's the power of divine transformation. It doesn't always shout. Sometimes it just changes everything quietly, from within. So, if you've been wondering, what now? This is your answer. Now, you live what you've learned. Faith was never meant to end at a miracle. Faith begins after the miracle. When you live with open hands and a grateful heart, you keep the flow of blessings alive. You start to see every sunrise as a sign of grace, every challenge as a lesson, every small blessing as a reminder that heaven is near. The key is to stay connected, because peace is not a one-time experience. It's a practice, something you build, something you return to again and again. There will still be days when you feel tired. There will still be moments when fear tries to whisper again. But now you have the tools. You know where to go. Go back to prayer. Go back to gratitude. Go back to that quiet space inside you where faith still whispers, I am here. And when you feel alone, remember this. You're part of something greater now. A circle of people all around the world walking the same path, building the same faith, speaking the same words. People just like you, listening, praying, believing. That's what Daily Jesus Message is, not just a channel, but a family of faith, a place where you can return each day to refill your spirit, a place where your heart can rest and your hope can grow. Because life doesn't stop after one prayer. It keeps moving, and so must your faith. Each message, each prayer, each moment of stillness that we share is designed to keep that fire alive inside you, the fire of belief, the fire of peace, the fire of purpose. You've already seen what happens when you let faith guide your life. Imagine what could happen if you lived that way every day. So make this your next step. Continue your journey with us. Let these daily prayers be your reminder that miracles still move, that heaven still listens, and that God still speaks, not through thunder, but through quiet moments like this when your heart is still and your spirit is listening. And if you're ready to keep growing, if you want to stay connected to peace, to guidance, to faith that never fades, then simply subscribe to Daily Jesus Message. It's not about numbers. It's about connection. It's about keeping this circle of light alive. Every time you listen, every time you share, you're helping spread hope to someone who might be praying for a sign. And maybe, just maybe, this is that sign. Because no one finds these words by accident. If you're hearing this now, it's because heaven led you here. You were meant to be reminded that you are not forgotten, that you are not behind, and that you are exactly where you need to be. This is your new beginning. As you step forward from here, carry this truth with you. You are guided, you are protected, and you are never alone. When life feels heavy, close your eyes and whisper the same prayer that started it all. Our Father, who is in every place, holy be your name in my life and in my path. Let those words wrap around you again. Let them remind you that the same power that created the stars is watching over you. And that power, that love, is not finished yet, because what you've received is only the beginning. This peace, this light, this sense of alignment, it will continue to grow as long as you nurture it. The more you give thanks, the more it expands. The more you share, the stronger it becomes. That's how faith works. It multiplies through love. So walk forward with confidence. Lift your head. Smile at the road ahead. Everything that once seemed impossible is now within reach, because you have changed. And when you change, everything changes with you. So tonight, before you sleep, whisper a prayer of gratitude. Thank God for what has already come and for what's still on the way. And tomorrow, wake up ready to receive again. Because your story doesn't end with a miracle. It begins with one, and every day you wake up, breathe, and believe you're writing another line in that story. So keep going, keep believing, keep your heart open and your faith steady. You are living proof that prayer works. You are walking evidence that faith can move mountains. You are the answer to someone else's hope. And now, as this chapter closes, remember, the light you found here was never meant to stay in one place. Take it with you, share it, shine it, and whenever you need to recharge, come back. You'll always find peace waiting here. This isn't goodbye. This is the beginning of forever. Welcome to your new life, the one built on faith, sustained by gratitude, and surrounded by love. And if your heart is ready, take a deep breath and say it one more time, not as a plea, but as a declaration. I believe. Then let the silence answer back, softly but surely. Heaven believes in you too.